There are too many people to thank. I can't say enough that Ron was the inspiration for me. And so I'm going to get started here. I threw some pictures of Michigan for those of you who aren't from Michigan. If you're bored with my talk, maybe you'll like the pictures. Mackinac Island. In 1995, I wrote a letter to the ACP newspaper. They had this throwaway newspaper they would send on a quarterly basis complaining about board certification and what I thought to be a process that was grossly unfair. I said, I await alternatives. This was back in 1995. But I got busy like all of us do, and I got board certified and went on with my life. And the process just became, as we have seen this afternoon, more onerous. You know, board certification I'm not opposed to, but I'm opposed to making it mandatory, and I'm opposed to the notion that board certified doctors are better doctors. And it has no legal mandate to exist. It's not a measure of competence, as we've seen, or quality. Or distinguishing a good doctor from a bad doctor. But really it has become necessary for hospital privileges, insurance networks, and even if you want to call yourself a specialist in some states. I had an ER doc. He is a fellow of the American College of Emergency Physicians. He served in our community for 20 years. He could not get onto Blue Cross PPO or Managed Care Network last year because he's not board certified. Right now, we have the American Board of Medical Specialties, by far the largest organization for board certification. We have also the American Board of Physician Specialties and numerous other smaller board certifying organizations. But of course, the big one is the American Board of Medical Specialties. And we've seen how it's grown and continues to grow, and we really don't know where the growth is going to stop. This is from the ABMS website, where they are saying that, you know, they're looking at more than 450,000 physicians involved in MOC. They're really hyped up about this. And that's one of the reasons I was interested in starting an alternative, because with that amount of money and that amount of involvement, which could be fictitious, because they may be using this number out of thin air to go to hospitals and insurance networks and government agencies and say, look, we've got everyone anyway. We've got everyone involved here. We've got you taken care of. We'll take care of your maintenance of licensure needs. So this may be a fictitious number, but nonetheless, I think they believe it. And they also project that 93% of board certified physicians will be involved in MOC, so they think they've got the market. This is also from their website, from the ABMS website, and I just wanted to highlight increased efficiency, reduce malpractice premiums. They're making these claims which I think just are not founded on reality. Patients experience fewer medical errors. Medical specialists who participate in MOC use the most current evidence-based guidelines. Says who? You know? So I think they're making some claims here that are really, really concerning to me. We hear this all the time. You know, we need to do this because if we don't, the government's going to come in. If we don't do maintenance and certification, the government's going to come in and take care of it for us. We hear that all the time. You know, all 50 states have government agencies that regulate doctors. It's already happening. That, you know, that is a non-issue, in my opinion. This is the one that really got me when I went to the American College of Allergy meeting in Anaheim in November. A representative from the American Board of Allergy got up and said, the reason we need MOC and board recertification is to protect the public. And to me, that was extremely insulting, to protect the public from all of you out there. That's what they're saying, that you somehow are a danger, a potential danger to the public. And I find that highly, highly insulting. Well, I looked at what options I had when it came to certification, recertification, maintenance certification, because really in a lot, we've heard many stories, and these have not been brought up too much in these talks, but there are doctors who are losing nationwide. I think Andy mentioned one doctor who lost his hospital privileges. I just got a call last night from one of my friends who said an ophthalmologist at his hospital, practiced there 20 years, lost his hospital privileges because he wasn't board certified. And like I said, I'm not opposed to it, but I'm opposed to the way it's being used. When I took the certifying exam for internal medicine, and then I took the exam for allergy and the recertification exam for allergy, the last one I took was in 2008, and it was very frustrating. The same problems that Ron felt, the same agony of clinically irrelevant questions, didn't reflect what we do as allergists. Also, there was a lack of transparency. You know, where did these questions come from? Some of the questions, obviously, we're looking for an answer based upon ways we don't practice medicine anymore. And also, you couldn't talk about the test content. I thought that was odd. That was silly. Why can't we talk about the test content? Why don't they, you know, what do they have to hide? This is a cost for allergists to involve themselves with the American Board of Allergy. And you can see that it's not cheap. And we also don't talk about the costs, I think even the greater costs of time away from office, locum tenens coverage for patients. I have a private solo practice, travel, hotel, food, review courses. And I looked at, after 2008, what I could do, not only for myself, but for the profession in a larger context. Well, 2008 came and went, and I was mad. I was really upset, and I passed my recertification, as did, at that time, 99% of allergists. And I'm thinking, if they all pass it, why are we taking it? But I said, well, you know, we could not participate, just say mask non-compliance, which I don't disagree with. We could put up with it. ABAI, the American Board of Allergy, claims at 54%. This was at our meeting in November. They said 54% of allergists are involved in mock, but then when you look at their ABMS website, they quote 30%. So you really wonder if these numbers are even accurate. You just put up with it or offer an alternative. And after, you know, over 10 years of complaining about this process, I finally got Central Command to agree. Actually, she encouraged me. My wife said, you know, I'm tired of hearing you complain about it. It's time to do something. And that also coincided with the time that I called Ron, and I blame him for a lot of this stuff, actually, because he really was an inspiration for me to embark upon this. So what I said was, okay, I'm going to create an alternative, because I don't believe the ABMS is going to go away. There's way too much money there. Secondly, doctors are so apathetic that trying to get them involved is really just a gut-wrenching experience. I mean, I have my own brother who's an allergist, and we get along fine. He's a private practicing solo allergist. You know, he just can't get himself to get interested in this. And I come from a family of physicians, and you would think that they would be interested, but they're scared, or they're apathetic, or they're lazy, or they're just like a hamster on a wheel, tied up with so many other issues. But I said, well, I'm going to give this a try. And it was created in February of 2011, and the goals are clinical relevancy, transparency, and cost effectiveness. I set it up as an S Corp because my accountant said that's the easiest thing to do. The whole issue of a nonprofit is, to me, questionable, because you could see the salaries of some of the individuals. And what I set up is that each specialty at the National Board of Clinical Medicine is a section in and of itself. And when and if specialists come to express an interest in starting an alternative for their specialty, they could do that with rules that, you know, pretty much they can set up. What I did for this organization is set up a certification, a recertification, which is the same thing as certification, and a continuous update of certification, and I trademarked that term because that's what the ABMS does with all their products. Certification in this organization involves an open book home-based test. Source of the test questions are listed. There's no curves. If you don't pass, you retake the sections that you didn't. You get 6 months to take it. If you decide you don't want to do it, you get a full refund. This is not based upon making money. This is based upon a principle. So if I look at the timeline, in 2010 I talked to Ron, then I talked to Dr. Eck, and the AAPS invited me to write an article, which I really appreciate. And I cannot underscore all the people in the AAPS who have been supportive, and there's more than I can name right here. But I had great help from Dr. Huntoon, among others, in writing my article. In 2011, I established a corporate structure. In 2012, I got the website going. I wrote the test questions. And then this month, actually, we're finally notifying allergists nationwide of where we're at. We'll see how it goes. It's been somewhat of a time commitment and a monetary commitment, and I would say that the time commitment's even more onerous than the monetary commitment. I put a cost at $750 to certify. It's time unlimited. There's no reason to have to recertify. But if, you know, I anticipate that there would be organizations like hospital staffs or insurance plans or other organizations that may require recertification, that individual can take the same exam. They're based on practice parameters that we use as allergists anyway. It's very clinically based. And then if someone needs to maintain, you know, instead of maintenance of certification, I coined the term continuous update of certification. It's $25 a year. People do whatever CME they choose to do, and we keep that on file. The three main goals of my organization are clinical relevancy, practice parameters is what I use, you know, are the sources of information I used, transparency, and cost effectiveness. There are huge challenges when starting this, and I think this is the biggest reason no one would be as crazy as I am to embark upon something like this. Number one, I don't want to become like the ABMS. You know, that's always a potential. Is this going to be recognized, or is this going to be considered just another fly-by-night organization that someone started because they were mad? You know, I can't stress enough that board certification doesn't mean much to me when it comes to other physicians in my community. I have physicians in my community who are not board certified. They're excellent physicians, and we have a great relationship. CME in the state of Michigan, you can count something like this as a CME activity to a certain extent. It can't count for all of your CME, but that's something that has to be looked at also. And of course, it doesn't make one a better doctor, but maybe it can help. And I don't want to get sued by the AAPS. As of May 2013, advertising is just starting. Like I said, we're letting allergists know that this is here. I had one other allergist nationwide who's willing to help me with this organization. He basically edited all my test questions, and he happens to be a private solo practicing allergist in rural northern Michigan. And you know, will apathy, fear, or just say no predominate with this whole issue? I don't know. I really don't know. But I really want to thank the AAPS for their interest in this issue. and I really appreciate the opportunity to talk to you this afternoon. Thank you so much.